And we are live.
Oh.
You can catch us on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and Instagram. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be right back with you, Howlers. We'll be right back. Yeah. How's over Baz? I'm Jacob Casas.
I'm Jessica Q.
And today, this episode is called Wealth. And I just wanted to let you guys know, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are like 300 away from 25,000 subs. So thank you, everybody, for subscribing. We've been growing pretty rapidly, so I want to thank everybody for that. But I wanted to let everybody know that we got a very special guest today. A friend of mine basically introduced us right now, so I wanted to let you go ahead and let the people know who you are and what you do.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Victor Arellano, and I go by Victor Barber. So the name says it all. I'm a barber to the city, to the community. Been a barber for about 20 years now. Blessed to do what I love, man.
Cool. So you own a barbershop.
Yeah.
And what city is it out of?
It's in Rancho Cucamonga.
That's good. Okay, and you I see the hat you're wearing, Wealth. So we named this episode Wealth because your shop is named Wealth.
Appreciate that.
So what tell us a little bit about that, how the name came about.
Me and my friend Rick, we were
Rick.
brainstorming, and I was like, yo, I'm ready to open up a barbershop, but I need something that had a name that had sustained with a lot of value. Mm-hmm. I didn't want something that was traditionally like Vic's Barber Shop or the Chop Shop. I wanted something that I could stream into other things, whether it was products or merchandise. Just, something that when you hear the name Wealth, you're either going to ask me what it stands for or why Wealth.
What does it stand for?
It's just the idea that we all triumph. And when I look at the word wealth, the first two letters is we. Mm-hmm. So the success of a barbershop or any business is basically
the team.
You and I, and the team, the community, and everybody that walks in. So wealth, it just stood out to me.
Well, that's cool because wealth is people always talk about that, riches and wealth. Wealth is like it could be everlasting for a family and legacy and name.
Exactly.
So it's different than riches. You know what I mean? So that's a cool name. I really dig the name. Yeah.
So
it takes time.
Like generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it's a community. It's either prior to you or after you, but it takes a team effort.
So let's get back to the beginning.
Yes.
Of how you started. I always want to let the audience know because a lot of businesses, there's a lot of people that want to start businesses, and they always think they just can't do it. So when we bring people on, I like to let them hear the story because you have a business that's being successful, that's running, that's doing its thing right now.
Yes.
So just explain how you got to that point. Okay. Let's start from obviously you started out as a barber.
Correct.
Let's kind of get going on that a little bit, see how things go.
So to be honest, I became a barber by default. As a young man just trying to get through school, I came to realize that once I graduated, a diploma wasn't enough for whether it might have been my dreams or my goals. So, like any person trying to figure out life, I ended up working a 9-to-5. Then I realized soon that I was like, yo, this ain't for me. Shout out to all the people that, that could do that industry. So I know I had to figure out something else. And just like being in the barbershop element, my barber at the time, he suggested that, while I'm trying to figure it out, that maybe I should go to barber school. And, I never thought about cutting prior to that. I never picked up a pair of clippers. I wasn't the kid in the garage that was just cutting up all the neighborhood. But I took the chance, went to barber school, got it done in about a year or so.
That's fast.
Yeah, if you go every day, it's like a job you don't get paid for because everything goes by hours. Yeah. So when you go to barber school, you have to complete 1,500 hours, and that's Monday through Friday. And at the school that I went to in Pomona, if you took a day off or if you were late too many times, you get dropped from the program. So then that's why it took me a little longer than a year. But if you go every day, it's about 10 months, give or take.
Okay.
And graduating from barber school, I basically had to set up the blueprint. Like nobody prior to me was a barber in my family or anybody that could give me advice. So like any person that was passionate about barbering, I kind of went head in over heels, and
You had to put all the puzzle pieces together.
as I went along,
Yeah.
So I had to kind of like figure it out,
Yeah.
through a lot of trial and error, but eventually, the tables kind of turned for me, and then I turned those feathers into lessons.
So what kind of failures did you have to go through?
Well, for one, barbering is like anything. You have to kind of build a stock, right? You build your stock as your clientele. So if you're fresh out of barber school and you're going into a new business, it requires time and effort, and then it takes money, right? Because you have to promote yourself. Now we're talking about probably 15 years plus, so the grind was a little different. It was, you had to make business cards, you had to make flyers, and then you go from, putting them on windshields to go putting them on doors and etc. to now, it might have changed a little bit, but it just took time. It's like I had to water my seeds in order for them to, to grow.
Well, Jessica knows about that, right?
Oh, yeah.
There. Yeah, so Jessica,
I have an advertising agency, so
there it
I
is.
totally
Yeah.
understand it and respect the hustle and the grind when it
No,
comes
for
to
sure.
advertising. Yeah.
Yeah,
But see, I think the people that do that, what you were doing, like what she was doing, I think those are the people that actually become the best form of sales for their business because they know the real hustle, the street hustle.
for sure.
When you learn both, you're a beast.
Nah, and
You know what I mean?
And I feel like time taught me both, But at that given time, being young and then fresh out of barber school, it was almost like guerrilla hustling. Like
Yeah.
I wanted the whole world to know, like, yo, I'm a barber, I'm hungry, you got to give me a chance. But even doing that, then the other part of it is skill and experience. Because you can have all the heart and all the grind, but then, people are going to pass you up because they're like, well, he's fresh out of school.
Yeah.
He has the last chair in the barber shop,
Yeah.
So it just took time to build that trust and then, work on my craft. Because on top of me advertising and promoting for myself, I was also in the lab making sure that my skills match my grind.
And barbering is not what it used to be. It is like an art. Like you don't just go to any barber nowadays. You know what I mean?
No, for real.
It's
Yeah.
a straight art, and they're lining you up. I mean, all the edge, everything,
Yeah.
beards, all that stuff.
It's
you
just
know?
for sure art and a skill, right? Because, prior to that, maybe just a good haircut was enough.
Yeah.
But now is the conversation,
Uh-huh.
it's the experience, the professionalism, and everything that ties up with your service. So,
Yeah.
there's, and like barbering, I feel like let's say if we're talking about music, there's a genre for every type of consumer. So, the person that I thought was less skillful will have a line out the building.
Yeah.
But his people skills were A1. So, you give and take and you learn from the good and the bad and stuff like that.
And you gotta know how to do the lineup with the party in the front and the back. What
Yeah,
is it?
yeah.
You gotta do every type of haircut. You know what I mean?
You're not lying. You gotta really qualify your customer and see what the occasion might be.
The
you
80s
know?
style came back. You're like,
The
what's going
shag,
on?
all of that, man. Nah,
You got the Edgars now.
for real.
now.
Oh, hey, shout out to the Edgars, man. They taking over for sure.
I know. What's up with that?
Hey,
I was
mean,
like, what did they name a haircut Edgar? I still need to know that.
you know what? I was following the Instagram Fools Gone Wild, and they had a whole little soundtrack and everything.
They're
They
all
got a
getting
song.
permed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never gone to a barbershop, and these young kids are getting permed now. I'm like, dude.
Nah, it's real, man.
You
Yeah.
do a lot of Edgars?
I do a few.
Yeah.
They look. I mean, shout out to the Edgars. I think they look clean.
So shout out.
Shout out to the Edgars, man. Y'all holding it down for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool though, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have some pretty interesting conversations. Let's do this. We had a few barbers in here
Oh, okay.
that own shops.
Oh, nice.
But I never asked this question.
Okay.
What is? I know you probably have a million of them, but let's just go from here. What out of all the stories that you've heard as a barber? From I'm sure you even know a lot of entrepreneurs, business
course.
owners, right?
Yes.
But what is there a story that really stuck out to you as the barber cutting somebody?
You know what? I got so many stories, but
What about like an inspiring story? A story.
I've been in the game for quite some time, so I guess just the experience of being able to witness people go from a certain stage in their life to where they might be at now. Just to be able to see them, like I have clients that have came in a booster, and then next thing you know, in the next chapter of their life, they're graduating high school, and then the next chapter,
Damn.
you know,
Wow.
Yeah.
they go to college and they come back, and then I'm cutting them for their wedding. So all those moments are very monumental to me, because not only does it say that I was able to grow with that person, but they stuck with me
Yeah.
when they might have had many other options, or if they go to college, they come back. You know, so then it turns from us being, you know, a client to
business
us being a
relationship,
family.
like
you know what I
family,
mean?
yeah.
Exactly.
That's
So
amazing.
I just think, you know, you see people go through ups and downs, you know, whether it might be an accolade in life, or, you know, you might be cleaning somebody up for a funeral or something. So it's just, you get to experience different kind of scenarios and stuff like that.
So, what has been probably the biggest sacrifice you had to have ever made being an entrepreneur, building your business, building your brand?
I had to miss out on a lot of things, you know. As an entrepreneur, you know, like most people, they think, oh, it must be cool to be your boss. But like you hear the story, we're the ones that wake up the earliest, and we're going to be the ones that are going to leave our establishment the latest. And then we're the ones that are going to do things by any means necessary, right? Because nobody's going to
Nobody's
really
gonna do it for
understand
you.
your vision
Yeah.
or go as hard as you are, because for those that might have come into your life at a certain period, they didn't witness everything else you had to go through prior to being able to say, I'm a business owner.
Right.
Being away from my family, missing out on, you know, friends, gatherings and stuff like that, so I can just build the foundation. My main focus was to build the foundation. I didn't want to go from A to Z. I wanted to go from A, B, C, D, E. So I know that whatever I would face in my establishment, I was going to weather the storm, because
Yeah.
I built a strong foundation.
Nothing's gonna knock you down.
Exactly.
We've actually been talking about that a little bit, me and Jessica. So, like, the journey is the biggest part of everything.
Of course.
So, I mean, the destination, in reality, come on, we're all business owners here.
Yes.
We're never really going to reach a destination. We're always going to want to keep
We want
going.
more.
Of course.
So you got to always remember, like, to just enjoy the journey.
Of course.
Live in the journey. Live in that time. Even the bad times. I mean, you would have told me this like 4 years ago, I would have been like, fuck you. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
for real.
Like, don't tell me that shit. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
nah.
I don't want to hear that.
No,
but that's real now.
all that comes with, you know, going through these phases, because fear, doubt, you know, you start questioning yourself, like, yo, am I cut out for this? And then, you know, you have those moments, but then you get your reassurances, because then you'll be able to reach, you know, certain goals, and then it's like, okay, you know, it's kind of worth it. And for myself, and I think like anybody else, as a young man, you know, I went from being a victim and like questioning God, like, well, why did I have to go through this? Why is my career not succeeding at the level of the person that I might have went to school with? But it was just, I had to stop and just kind of focus on what was in front of me, and then accepting it, and then instead of being a victim, become more of a soldier towards it, meaning like, yo, this is what I have to go through. And maybe I don't understand now, but maybe in a few, I will serve as a testimony maybe to the next person, or somebody in my family, or, you know, or maybe a comrade or something like
It'll
that.
make sense eventually, and
Exactly.
it's funny because that always comes up on the podcast.
Yeah, that's
People questioning God, like,
Yeah.
why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason.
No, it
But-
does, you know. So
You know, I've been hearing this so much on the podcast. It's crazy. It's like I don't want to say because God's testing, but I want to feel like I want to say like God is using you and allowing you to go through these trials, because it's like the people that suffer a lot of the people that suffer the most and that can triumph over that. They end up doing great things, building businesses, families, building things.
And
They're
building
better
other
fathers.
people too.
Yeah,
You know,
they're-
you also become an inspiration to others as well.
most definitely,
I mean, they'll even build, be better fathers and mothers and friends. And
of course.
they look at things differently than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
It's like you have to go through suffering, and you kind of think about it. Like my personal belief is, I'm just thinking about this now, but like, Jesus suffered.
Of course.
So I kind of look at that as, look at the suffering we have to go through to become great.
Of course.
It's almost like suffering is, if you don't suffer, it's like you don't become great.
Exactly.
I mean, how many people that you see that don't suffer become great, though? You know what I
No,
mean?
that's true. I think every successful person has a story, and then has a lot of, a lot of situations where they had the same emotions that we shared. And I always tell people, like, if what you're aiming for is almost like a dream that lets you know that is anything that you're trying to work towards you, it's never gonna come easy, right? Like if you go get a car but you ain't work on your credit, well, how are you gonna get a car with zero interest? You have to understand and build, and then once you know, go after it. And if for those that believe in God or they just believe in Most High or the positivity, you got to understand that if God knows the future and he already knows what he has in store for you, and he knows that he's a swimmer, I'm gonna take him to deep waters.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I take him to deep waters, then I know as the Lord above that I can bless him with this blessings, because everybody's blessings are different. Some of us can be blessed bigger, and some of us are blessed less, not because God doesn't have equal in store for everyone. It's just at whatever stage in life you might not be ready to accept that blessing, because with the blessing comes more obstacles.
Right.
And
You got to keep leveling up, right?
Exactly.
And I actually was talking to you about this a little bit. So like I think that a lot of times, like even when we have our own businesses and things like that, and we get a little bit stagnant, where it's almost like collecting a check again, right?
For sure.
But then you might get your
The
ego
comfort
might
zone.
yeah, and then your ego might go up a little bit because you have money to do what you want with it.
Exactly.
And then I feel like you do things that you shouldn't be doing, and then it takes away from the blessings that God would actually give you.
Of course.
He's like, I can't give you more if this is what you're doing with what I gave you already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he waits and allows you to go through that again until you kind of have to figure it out yourself.
Of course.
And I've been seeing that with myself. But I think a lot of entrepreneurs would have to go through that, because you see power and money changes them.
Of course.
If they don't stay focused on what they're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. I agree. Like I always tell people, like it doesn't matter the level of success that my business reaches or myself personally. I'm always going to be that foot soldier. I'm always going to remember those days that what I pray for and I have now, I remember that feeling of wanting it and not being able to have it. And I always kind of like keep that little fuel inside of me. So when I do feel like, oh, everything's going great, like you can't be naive to think that business is just going to remain great.
Yeah.
You got to work towards
You
it
got to
so
keep
it can
working.
so it can
You
be
never
great.
stop.
No, not at all. And I always tell my barbers or my team, like, look, the reason why I continue to work as hard, even though some might look like, oh, you have a full clientele, you're doing all this, but I always tell them I'd rather have a line waiting for me than me having to be on my high horse and thinking like my business can't slow up and then I have to go back to grinding again. If I stay consistent and I keep grinding, no matter if I'm at top or mid, or I'm always going to be steady. So that's my biggest goal, is just to always stay steady and and just keep grinding no matter how high we get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
Agreed.
that too.
Yeah.
So there's a series of questions I ask a lot of entrepreneurs that I believe that you have to have in your characteristic as being an entrepreneur. And I want to ask you some of them. And you know what's crazy? We get so many different answers. Sometimes it's mind blowing, because sometimes you didn't think of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I actually get very interested to hear a lot of these answers.
Nice.
So if you want, like, really think about what I'm
Okay.
asking you.
For sure.
Because some of this shit is like wild that I
okay.
get back,
All right.
But there's one I want to ask is, being correct. I feel like every entrepreneur, every person in business, they have to, at some point, they have to be courageous, and that means that they have to go through major fear.
Of course.
In order to be courageous, you
Yeah.
can't just be courageous without some major fear going on. Like,
sure.
Not a little bit of fear, because that's not being a major fear.
For sure.
So tell us a time in your entrepreneurship journey that you had to be courageous.
Man, there's probably multiple, but the first one would be probably just, like I said, graduating barber school and going into the unknown. Like, yeah, barber school's cool. You go get up every day and get out at a certain time, but now it's like you're on your own now. Now you got to figure it out, because not only are you a barber now, but you're an advertisement, you're a project manager now, and then based off of the effort and the clients that sit in your chair is going to dictate, are you either going to eat tonight, or are you going to be able to pay your bills? So just going in that first stage of my career where, like, I'm going into the unknown and I'm basically banking on me and there was days that I was coming up short. You know, there was days where I was paying more into the establishment that I was actually making. So the fear of, you know, me running out of money. But I remember the passion that I had even on the days that I went home with a fat zero. And that passion is what kind of reassured me to just keep showing up. So just the unknown, and, you know, when you have, you know, whether you're in a relationship, like I have my girlfriend that's my wife now, you know, telling me like, yo, you sure you want to do this? Because, man, it looks like you putting all your effort in it and you're coming up short. Like, you sure you don't want to, you know, she meant well for me, right?
Yeah.
But it was those things that I didn't want to hear at the given time
Yeah.
because
We know.
I'm being optimistic. And I'm telling myself that I'm just an opportunity away from this changing, right? So as your support system kind of start questioning in a manner where they care for you. They don't want you to struggle. Like,
Yeah.
yo, the rent's due. Like, you're going to have your rent. Like, we got to make sure that we're going to make ends meet. But basically, you know, keeping my faith and then just reminding myself, like, what I'm made out of and where I've been and where I'm going. I just kept showing up,
Yeah.
you know, so that was that stage.
How did you handle that? I mean, like having your girlfriend who is like right there with you, telling you, "Hey, are you sure you want to do this?" Because some people will just stop. They'll be like, "You know what? Maybe you're right."
Well, yeah, I mean, you get that from a person that you know you love and you're building with. So of course you're like you start second guessing, and then you know you have your family around you. They're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And you almost gotta kind of like, "Oh, it's going good," but in reality, you know, you're struggling.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just accepting the fact and then just trusting my faith and knowing that God, you know,
Has a
God was
plan.
gonna send somebody. Whether it was clients or it was, you know, might have been my friend or even my girlfriend that was out there handing out, you know, flyers for me and just saying like, yo, well, you know, I'm just throwing my concern, but I got your back. Like, I'm still riding with you. So we're going to ride it till the wheels fall off kind of thing. And that was that stage, you know, in my career. Just, I felt like coming fresh out of barber school and going into the actual, it's that like industry and not knowing and kind of trusting people, you know, like ownerships, like, yo, come here, you'll make this much amount of money. Then you go in there and there's a zoo, and then it's like, yo, that establishment is not working, but you want to be loyal and then committed, but then you got to know when to cut it and go somewhere else.
Right.
And even like in the transition of that, right, because I didn't want to quit, I would go pick up a part-time job, right? So everybody knows me as the guy that just graduated barber school, and I'm a full-time barber, but then I'm working part-time just to try to keep.
Like at a restaurant or something. Just
Yeah,
to
I was
try to
working
keep
at
going.
retail, right? Because
Okay,
even that,
yeah.
I try to be calculated. I didn't want to go into an environment where I wasn't going to be able to meet other people. So if I told myself, if I'm going to go work, I'm going to go find a retail store where there's a lot of heavy traffic.
There you go.
So as I'm trying to sell clothes, I'm going to
Strategic
try to be
thinking.
selling myself, you know? Oh, what's up? You know, wow, man, I just, you know, I picked up this part-time job.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm still at the barbershop full-time and et cetera. So, you know, doing it for a season just so I could get by as I continue to build my foundation.
So when did you decide to open up your own shop and be like, you know what, this is what I'm doing now?
Well, fast forward, you know, like I said, from early in my career, I made every mistake possible. And then getting to a point where I had to always start from scratch, right? I have been in other barbershops. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. And then learning from either or, because the ones that were good are the ones that end up going out of business. But it taught me valuable lessons, meaning because traffic was so good that it didn't matter what day I was going to be, that I know I was going to eat. But I'm just showing up. I'm not building relationships. I'm not exchanging contacts. I'm not putting my name, you know, embedded in the thing. So if God forbid this was to go out of business, how will they be able to find me? But that's exactly what happened. The business, you know, closed
Damn.
with no warning, with no like, you know, heads
Just
up.
one day they're like,
one day
the door is closed.
the owner said, I'm gonna close the shop today. Y'all take the day off. I'm gonna clean. He cleaned it out all right. He cleaned the whole smug
Oh,
out.
wow.
Like, we showed up the next day. There's no chairs.
I bet
There's
you
no
guys
nothing.
are pissed.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is our livelihood. And after being at several barbershops, in my head, I was like, yo, I found a place where I'm able to build.
Yeah.
Right. But here, you know, once again, I'm
Okay,
learning.
so this
Uh-huh.
to me, this is the part of being courageous.
Uh-huh.
This is your story.
Yeah.
This part right here, walking into the shop And nothing's there.
Nothing's there, man. And we're scrambling, right? We're like, oh, what's going on? Trying to get in contact with the owner. The owner's giving us a runaround. Long story short, he was a businessman that owned like McDonald's, Jack in the Box. And this establishment was a franchise. So they had over 600 locations. So in my head, I'm coming from a mom and pops. This is a franchise.
Yeah.
They have backing. They have, all the resources that they need to succeed. But for him, it just didn't make sense anymore. His lease was up, so rather than him renewing his lease, he just cut it off.
It was probably a write-off for him.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you own a McDonald's, you for sure got to be making over a couple million dollars.
At least.
Not that the barbershop can't do that,
Yeah.
but for him, on top of everything else he owned, he probably just looked at it
wasn't
like,
worth
I'm
it.
okay.
Yeah.
So here I am from having to start from scratch for like my fourth time. I told myself that the next establishment that I would find, that I would do everything the right way. So from every experience that I learned in all these other establishments, I told myself that I'm going to rebuild from A through Z, and I'm not skipping those steps. So
So then you started to do your own thing.
yeah, so this last place that I was at, going from that barbershop to having to cut out of my garage, I was very particular of where I wanted to go work at. And there was a salon that was literally across the street from where I was living that I might have got like 20 no's before the owner said yes. And one being that it was a hair salon and I'm a barber, and he had a specific type of experience he was trying to provide and a type of look. But something in my heart kept telling me, this is where I need to be. I feel right about this place. I need to be here. So after several attempts, I kind of, wiggled in by, for one, I went in and got introduced to the staff, right? Because the owner kept giving me the runaround. So I went and introduced myself to the staff. I wanted, to see who I was and where I'm coming from, right? So that was my attempt to win them over. Then I would go back to the owner, and he's like, nah, I'm okay. Then, all right, I'm going to find another angle. He had a barber that was also a hairstylist. So I said, I'm going to go get a haircut by him. And I'm going to build a conversation, and then I'm going to tip him fat. And I'm going to tell him honest
Look at
truth.
you.
I said, look,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get in here, and what you guys are doing is something I want to be a part of. But unfortunately, the owner doesn't see me fitting to what's going on. But I had made such a good impression with the team that, once again, I showed up. And I asked the owner, like, look, I understand that you have a certain way you want to run your establishment, and you don't know me, and you have every right to, stick to your thing. But I don't know, something about this place is just telling me that I need to be here. So what would it take for me to get the opportunity? So he's like, well, let me talk to my staff and my team, and then I'll get back to you. That was a green light for me because I had already snuck around and kind of made an impression on them that I was praying that when they asked them the opinion, that they would give good rapport.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. But even then, I still didn't get a call back.
No?
Nah, not at all. So I ended up showing up again.
And it's all about showing up. You keep saying that.
I kept showing up.
You got to keep showing up.
My first attempt, he must have gave me like 5 seconds. But I messed up because I was in basketball shorts. I had a hat on. Right away, I read the room.
Appearance is important.
I looked at how he dressed. I looked how he carried himself. I said, I'll be right back.
Yeah, first impression, right?
Went in that Superman booth. I threw on a button up, cleaned up. And he didn't even recognize me. The second time I came, he gave me 10 minutes.
Okay.
And
There you go.
I like this story. Keep going.
so long story short, he said he would call me. He didn't call me. I still followed up. And then he said, look, I'm gonna be short and sweet. I got the establishment for myself, so I'm not looking to run a business. What I can do for you is to keep the lights on and pay the bills. The rest is up to you. Don't ask me for nothing. Don't depend on me for nothing. All I'm going to do is just keep this place open for you. I said, that's all I need. And he said that he would put me on a probation era. So he said 90 months, if it doesn't work for you or if it doesn't work for me, it's not personal, we're going to part our ways. Long story short, 90 days turned into 9 years.
Wow.
Right? So 9 years, I was able to build a strong foundation. And from the day he gave me the green light, I made a mission, I set my goals, and then I executed. And then my marketing and my advertisement changed, right? Because I had to be more strategic. Mm-hmm. So if I was going to be handing out flyers, then I wanted to be able to work smarter, not harder. Yeah. So at the time, I lived in an apartment complex. And like any of us, we used to get like Domino's coupons on the door, right?
yeah.
So I created a hair flyer that was just like the Domino flyer,
Door hangers?
door hangers.
Nice.
But I got in good with the security guard.
I love it.
So my security guard and
So you're always just making connections for what you need to do.
exactly.
Yeah.
So at that time, you know, if you got a notice, it was literally put on your door. Now they might send you an email. There's
Yeah.
a data. But
It's all digital marketing now. Things have
exactly.
changed
Back then, it
definitely.
was a security guard that was going door to door. I said, "Well, my man, if you're gonna do that, how about I'll get you something to eat, and if you drink on the job or something, I'll drop you a little talk."
Oh, yeah, that always works.
But we got it so good that he's like, "Bro, most definitely." So he's working already for me, and he's doing
That's a
it.
blessing.
There's like 250 units there, but I didn't want to go around no more. I was like, no, I got to be able to be available at any given time because I wasn't going to turn. That's another thing. My availability at that time, I wasn't turning nothing down. And for those that know, like my clients are like, yo, I remember you used to be there at 5 a.m. I used to be there at 2 a.m. Like I was getting it in by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And so going from that,
Damn,
and
so
then
tweaker cuts, huh?
nah, for real, call me because I lived
shit.
across the
He's
street.
on 1
Like call
a.m.
me.
He's all cutting hair.
You know, even on the days that the shop was like designated.
Hey, that's how it was, dude.
Nah, for real.
I'll tell you some shit too, but that's exactly that's the
But,
real shit.
Okay, bet. So and so need a cut. All right, bet. I'll be right there.
Yeah.
That's how it was. And
You
so,
could have called it tweaked out cuts.
nah, for real. Like, yo, knock on my window. I'll get up and I'll be right there. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then doing my trials and errors, at the time it was Penny Saver, right?
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah.
I ran an ad on Penny Saver,
That's old school.
and it cost me
That's
a
what a lot
Do
of
you
people
remember
used to look
that?
at that, though. A lot of people looked at that.
Yeah,
cost,
they did.
It cost me a pretty penny, but when I say it wasn't successful for me. I might have got like maybe like 2 calls the first week, and then after that it went dry.
Oh,
But it was a lesson that I had to learn.
yeah.
Yeah, we all got to learn that shit.
And so, but going from there, being there 9 years, and like I said, it was a great experience, and the owner kept every word. Eventually, ended up being like his right-hand man. And to the point where, like, look, because he wanted to downsize. I said, well, why don't you, sell me the establishment? We'll keep it in the family. We'll keep it going. But he wasn't ready. I said, well, out of love and respect, I'm gonna start looking for my own. At this time, I have more than enough overflow. I've created a name and a brand that I think I want to go ahead and spread my wings. And sure enough, I ended up finding a building that's literally like a light away. Like I'm on the other side of the street.
Okay.
And
Which is great for your clientele.
for sure.
Because now you're like, oh, I'm just right across the street.
Not only that, right? So my vision when I opened up a barbershop, I wanted it to be convenient. So I wanted to find an establishment that was accessible to the freeways and accessible to the attractions, meaning restaurants and malls, right? Because I could have went into a neighborhood and it would have been dandy, but because I had clients that were coming from LA, coming from, other parts of the city, I wanted it to be not an excuse that I was too far in. So I wanted it to be accessible. And so it was just a blessing that the retail space that I was able to get was literally within those spaces.
I want to touch on something that you said, though, because I actually haven't heard somebody explain it the way you did so well. Because I feel like that was really cool how you did that. Because look at what he did. What you did is you knew what you wanted, so you basically infiltrated everything you could to keep talking to the owner of that business.
For sure.
You went into the whole place. You had a plan.
Nah, for sure. Man.
So that's like legit, dude. Like you have to be able to get in good with everybody. That's like a whole legit strategic plan.
No, it was.
that you did. You got good with with all the people there to talk good about you to get you where you are today across the street with your own building. Right.
No, for sure.
The same time with the security guard, you did the same thing with him. Got in good, so you don't have to pass out all the flyers.
For sure.
He's doing it for a meal and a beer, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
That's like crazy shit. Like I really think people need to understand that because there's ways of doing things. You can't just always. That's a form of sales. It's a whole different
sure.
form of sales. You got to keep getting in with
sure.
everybody you can. And that's a good form of sales that you do.
No, it is. I
how you
mean,
explain it.
because you have to learn how to overcome objection.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And then qualify, right? Every room is qualifying.
Yeah.
From the person that greeted you at the door, from the valet, from the chef, like qualify. I want to be able to know within the matter of seconds, like, can we do business together, or can you service me, or can I service you?
Well, imagine if you gave up. You
Oh.
had none of this shit.
None of that.
And that's why don't get discouraged if you hear no.
For sure.
The more no's you hear, the closer you are to a yes.
Yeah, you gotta
Right?
get comfortable.
So you gotta keep going.
You gotta get comfortable.
You'll eventually get there.
By being rejected. And once again, like, anything worth having is never gonna come easy.
No way.
Who's gonna want to give up a good situation? Like, nobody's gonna bring you into their environment when what they know they
They
can
built that shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
They had
So,
to work hard for it.
I
right?
could be like, oh, I'm qualified, I could do this and that. Like, yeah, but you won't know until you actually get to build with that person
And being a business owner, you know how many times we get that kind of shit.
all the time.
And these motherfuckers can't do anything that
Not
they
at
say
all.
they're gonna do, and you're just like disappointed anyway. So it's like they have to prove themselves. regardless.
Exactly.
So that's what you had to do, but you did it a whole different way where it's gonna catch an eye. Like, hey, this dude came in here, like me as a business owner, I would have been like, this dude got in good with all my people to get in good with me. Like, that's crazy.
No, for sure.
And you still didn't get a call back, but you said you got 5 minutes the first time.
Yeah.
And
No,
you
it was
got-
5 seconds the first
Yeah,
time.
no lie. 5 seconds.
And then you got 10 minutes the next
Yeah,
time, right?
yeah, 'cause
and the time kept going up.
Yeah, it did.
You know what I mean? And you were working
Because
on
even
that time.
it started off with a 90-day probation, which I ended up buying 9 years.
It just never stopped.
It worked
It just
out.
it just kept like, can you get this much time now? This much time. This much
Nah,
time.
for real.
So it's based on your performance, and you outperformed.
Of course, and then like even being blessed to get the opportunity, like I went in with a mission that I was gonna prepare myself to be an owner before I became one. The owner didn't have to wait on me to tell me to throw out the trash. I was throwing it out where people were questioning, like, you don't have to do that, right? I said, why not? I work here. My customers get service here. This is my home just as much as yours.
Right.
But the difference is that you think is a task, and me, I'm just preparing myself.
Exactly.
And if the owner of my establishment can go for another 9 years, that means I'm gonna have a roof over my head for another 9 years. So I'm gonna take pride in holding him down to where he could just focus on doing what he gotta do, and that's pay those bills.
And that's uplifting for you too.
For sure.
You know, absolutely.
And I'm never too good for me to dump the trash, mop, whatever it took.
Well, that's the thing, is you're preparing yourself. So when you say that, like, people need to really understand that. So when you go into a business and you look at it as this is just a job,
Yeah.
because I went into service management of a place like this,
Okay.
and that's how I was able to open my own business, right?
You
But-
learned the trade.
But when I did it, I went in as I'm gonna learn everything from this
Yeah.
dude.
A through Z.
I worked right under the owner. I said I'm gonna learn everything possible from this dude because I'm gonna run this shit.
For sure.
I was looking at it as me running his place though, like everything.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
And then I end up getting this. You know what I'm saying? So if people want to grow, they need to work in a place like they own it.
For sure.
And that's how you build. You either could be a leader at that business, or you build your own.
Of course.
And a lot of people don't understand that. They just go there for a check and they go home.
And respectfully, they're always,
Same place.
gonna
yeah.
be a employee,
yeah.
which is okay, but
Well, we need
I
employees,
just
so-
think we need to in our lives we always got to constantly challenge ourselves.
Right.
We can never get too comfortable about just doing bare minimum. I didn't get this far by doing bare minimum.
And that's what we're talking about. Shed the sheep.
There you go.
That's what that is, man. Like you learn to shed that off you, man. Because a lot of people just leave it on. They're fine with it. They're fine with. I literally have friends that tell me like what the heck? Like when I came up with the name House Over Baz, they would literally tell me, like, dude, what's wrong with being a Baz? Like, what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with being a sheep? Like, it's fine. Everybody needs sheep, right? Everybody needs to be able to work. You still need me.
For sure.
You still need me to work. And I'm like, dude, I mean, in reality, like, yeah, we do need you. But to have that mentality, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
dude.
facts.
Like, you're fine with just being a walking zombie in this fucking world. Like, you're literally living the way that the world's telling you to live. Like, go home, go to work. Barely go on vacations, barely do anything, just work for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
and then
I
die.
always say we're like ants. A lot of people are just like ants. They just
Yeah.
keep moving, following each other, and You know?
Yeah,
What are they
nah.
getting out of life?
And there's a whole world outside, like an ant
Yeah.
farm, like you're saying, like
Yeah.
an ant farm.
Yeah.
There's a whole world outside that
For
they
sure.
think it's just that little ant farm.
Yeah.
Nah, and that's
But they're scared to get out. That's the problem. A lot of people are just
gotta
scared.
jump off the porch.
Take a chance.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is like I always tell people, as much as we all want to be financially stable, and it's gonna be hard, you gotta find what you love. And I promise you that if you stick with what you love, you're eventually gonna get paid fat.
Yeah.
But most people won't weather that storm because
Yeah.
usually when you start doing what you love, you're not getting paid.
No.
But eventually then checks start coming in. But the idea is that you get to wake up every day and you're not looking at the clock. You're not looking at it the fact like, yo, I
We're
got
trying to beat the clock.
for real.
That's
Like
what we try to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, like, damn, I wish I had more hours in the day to
Exactly.
do what I love. But it's also because you gotta put the love before the monetizing, you know.
Yeah, that's
What's that
legit,
saying?
though.
Like, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, and the money will always come.
It's
It
so
will
it's gonna
always
find
come.
you, you know, because who doesn't want to be, who doesn't want to pay for a service when you go in the establishment and you could tell right away like, yo, this dude loves what he does.
Yeah, you're passionate about it.
He's-
People can feel the energy.
They can feel it, like going to a good restaurant and good food. Like that person in the kitchen, they did that with love
Yeah.
because, you know, it's like your grandmother cook. You know, she in the kitchen, like, wow, Abuelita's gonna do it. You know, it's gonna be fire. You know,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I just say do it with love, man.
You see, I didn't like ranching on rigs, but I love the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was learning the business side of things, of that industry, I was like, man, this, because I've always loved business, even before that, before I worked there. So I didn't love that, right? But I love the business side. So when I started this, I started just falling in love with business even more.
That's dope.
So I think that there's always pieces of what you're doing that you need to find that you love.
For sure.
Like you were saying, because if you don't have that, it's all just gonna go down anyways.
No, most
Because
definitely.
you're not gonna give it your all.
Exactly.
You're just not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the passion is for sure gonna push you to the top. So,
So what's your next step?
you know, I was
What's
just
your? Because I think all entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
should have. Because a lot of us, you know it, man.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, we get stagnant.
for sure.
And on this show, I try to tell a lot of people like there's more levels
For sure.
because you already did it, but like 9 years, that's like my time, right?
No.
I got stagnant, but for about like the last 2 years, I've been trying to build it up again.
True.
It's like, dude, yeah, I'm getting money and it's just cool, but I could be making way more, but
For
I'm
sure.
not pushing to my limit anymore.
Exactly.
And so that's why I wanted to ask you: do you have another goal to hit with your business, or another business, or where do you want to go from here? Like, what's, even if you haven't thought about it right now, maybe you're thinking about it right now, but what is the next step for you?
You know, it's funny you ask because I actually have been thinking about it. So I've been blessed enough to run my establishment for 6 years, right? And I'm always constantly thinking, well, how can I do this better? On top of that, I've created a clothing brand. It's called We All Triumph. And then because of the barbering thing, I've been able to build good relationships. And I always tell people that my net worth is my network. So being able to be at this age and being able to be steady in my industry, I'm trying to pivot in doing consultations. So meaning building my network to do business together, right? So if I deal with athletes or if I deal with entertainers and I have access to them, how can I bring an opportunity where we can all eat from it, right? Because this person might not be able to get in contact with this person, but I'm the middleman because I service this person and I service that person.
It's like a booking agent kind of
Something like that. And-
like a broker.
Exactly.
Broker.
Or it might
Yeah.
be, me giving, advice or experience. Like I have a
Coaching.
few
Mentoring.
Yeah, exactly. I have a few friends now that I'm helping them with their brands, right?
Yeah, I have a few too. You know what I mean? So that's cool that you're thinking of that. But are you going to go as hard as you did when you had your business?
Well, anything I do that I want to do, I'm gonna go 110 because I won't do it.
110.
I'm not gonna
That's
half-ass
exactly
it, you know.
Yeah.
So I go 110, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the success of those testimonies is how I'm gonna be able to charge,
Yeah.
right? So if I can brag about how I was able to help this person and that person, then that's how my rate goes up. But if I don't give it the full effort or the attention that it needs, then I won't even do it.
You know, and I think there's a real need for that because you see all these coaches, these like lame ass coaches all over social media that you don't even know what the hell they really do besides
Facts.
coach, right?
Exactly.
But a business owner that's built his business from the ground up, they can show you how to do it with the actual steps. I mean, people don't even know how to go get what a DBA is or how to get a
Yeah,
DBA.
facts. Doing business.
Or even getting your EIN number, or any of that stuff.
Which is so easy.
Yeah, and it's the thing. The thing is these people are teaching them coaching. You're like, just stay motivated. Like all that's bullshit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
you
show
need
real steps.
You
real
need
steps to do.
have your paperwork in order.
Yeah.
And like that's one obligation that I have to my team, right? The rules in my establishment is that we seek the knowledge and then we apply it and then we share it amongst each other, right? So if I'm gonna go learn something, then let me make sure this is good at good knowledge right here. Let's make sure this works. Okay, it does work. Then I bring it to the table. Now, if I have 7 other brains in my establishment and we all abide by that rule, then there's no necessity for me to go pay for some extra or any other advice because we have more than enough here. And if we all stick to the rules, then we have more than to give each other the tools and the resources. If one of my guys wants to do a meal prep company, then okay, if you're going to be legit, create the name, make sure you do a search, make sure the name's not taken. Secondly, if you're really going to be about it, go get your EIN, which you can get it in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, now it's all online.
Exactly.
Like online.
And now you could either go to a lawyer or go to LegalZoom and create your LLC, right? And then I'm going to really pay attention to the reaction because those first steps require effort, require money.
Most people will not even do it.
They want to just go to meal prep, but guess what happens? If it blows up, right, and your name is catchy and somebody come take it because you ain't imprinted, like you're just hustling backwards. And if you're really serious about it and you're really trying to do this for the long run, then why wouldn't you want to really do everything from A through Z?
Yeah, well, you know who's serious and who's not.
Exactly.
If they can't go get the damn name taken care
They're
of.
gonna be like, what I gotta? Oh no. I'm good.
Well, a lot of people are like they talk a lot, but they don't take action. You
And
know,
that's
that's
most
the thing.
people.
It is.
Yeah.
I
It is
always
what
I
it
always
is.
tell people I'm gonna do my walking before I do my talking.
Yeah, exactly.
You ain't gonna hear nothing from me. I'm gonna show you when I pull
I'll
up.
show you
so-
exactly.
because I mean, we could talk all day.
So,
Yeah.
what do you believe leadership is?
Leadership to me, man, is somebody that's gonna get their hands dirty. Leadership is somebody that's gonna go to war with you. If I'm running the establishment and I'm trying to set the example to a person, I can't tell them how to operate. I gotta show them. I gotta be shoulder to shoulder with them, right?
Yeah.
Because you got all types of learners. You got dudes that I could tell them once, all right, I got it, and then there's others that are gonna have to see it, and I might have to repeat it more than once. So, as a leader, you gotta be very transparent and honest. When I hire somebody at my establishment, traditionally most barbers they come up to you like, hey, I want to work for you. They said don't work like that. I'm gonna host an interview, and then on this day you show up, and then we could talk. And when we talk, basically all I'm doing is I'm putting everything on the table. Like these are all the pros, these are all the cons that are gonna arise. I'm not gonna sit here and sell you a dream. I'm not gonna sit here and sell you a job because I didn't put a not hiring.
Yeah.
But this is how we gonna overcome these obstacles, right? And if you stick to the plan and we set our financial goals, we have these calculated times, and then we move forward. But even prior to that, before you commit to me, I want you to go check out the barbershops out. Pay attention. You got to envision if it's something that you can build with. Is it your clientele? Is their clientele going to be a reflection of your clientele? Because that's very important. And once you understand those things and you decide that you still want to come and work at Wealth, then we move forward. Most respectful, most owners will be like, yeah, I'll hire you. I got an empty chair. Me, I'm more selective.
Which is good because like you're building your family. You
Yeah.
don't want to let the wrong people in.
And because I know what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
I know that all the mistakes I made in the past are of value now. Because I could help that young individual kind of, maneuver through certain things, Although everybody's going to go through their own things, but based off of my experience, like, look, hey, you should maybe do this, watch out for that. and the idea is to help the next person get to it that much faster.
Yeah. Well, you know your worth,
Exactly.
and you value that.
Yeah, value. You gotta value your worth. You gotta value your time. And I didn't understand that at a young age. You know, when people say time is money, but now I really
Now you
understand.
do, huh?
You know,
I know as we get older, we realize that it is.
because for entrepreneurs, the one thing that we 9 times out of 10 don't have is time. So if somebody's wasting your time when you should be probably with your family or somebody you care about or doing the things that you need to do for yourself, and somebody takes that away from you, that's why time is money. Don't waste my time.
Are you a father?
Yes, I have 2 boys. Well, I have 3. One's in heaven, but I have my oldest Kingston, and then my youngest Knight. Yes, sir.
So we have one in heaven right now.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay. His name's Cash.
Cash.
Yeah.
So I mean, as a father and an entrepreneur, how do you translate that into being a father?
I mean, to be able to be a business owner is a blessing because I'm able to bring them into the element, right? So it's not one of those situations unless I'm traveling, because I travel a lot with my clients. I'm bringing my son into the environment, but I'm not teaching him how to cut hair. I'm teaching him like, yo, the reason why we do this marketing is to be able to do this, right? And even when we market, we're strategic now. At this point, the way I market is completely different. Like, I have a permit through the U.S. Post Office that allows me to mail directly into your home.
Yeah.
So
direct
I
mail.
went from being outside
Direct
on your
mail.
windshield to your door. Now you got a little. I'm on your kitchen. You know.
Table, yeah.
Like you gonna before you throw me
You're gonna
away.
see me.
I made it into the house.
Yeah.
You know. And then being strategic about how I even put the flyer together. So, but I'm showing my son all of that. Like if I have the like most parents or most entrepreneurs, they're doing business all the time. So if somebody's in the room with you, I'm bringing my son like, look, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
This is a zip code we're searching. Well, why, Dad? Well, the reason why we're going to this zip code because the houses here started off at $1 million, and because I'm not sending out coupons, I'm trying to sell an experience.
You're doing different things than most barbers are doing.
Yeah.
Business. So you're thinking at a different level. You're not thinking as a barber anymore. You're thinking as a straight business owner.
Yeah.
Like,
And you're
that's good.
teaching your children that too.
Yeah.
So they're
That's
seeing
good.
you and they're looking up to you and going, look, my dad's a badass, you know?
I mean, like I said, the value's in the knowledge. I respectfully think, right, like I was telling you guys earlier, I became a barber by default. So that means that I learned how to become a good barber. I wasn't gifted the talent. So I believe that anybody that puts in the amount of time to be a barber can be a barber. There's clients that have came to me, I don't know where to go in life. I said, well, look, man, just go to barber school. Well, I never thought about cutting. Shit, I never thought about cutting, but go give it a shot. Now I have 2 clients that converted into barbers, and one of them works at the barbershop.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, but the knowledge that I'm giving my son is the knowledge that 9 times out of 10 you have to go to college for,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm already doing it and I'm already applying it, and then I'm transparent, like, yo, this worked, this zip code didn't work, we're gonna re-strategize the campaign, and this is how we do it. Even from like paying attention to the audience in our shop, right? Well, Dad, we change the music if a lady comes in with her children. We adapt to the environments and the people that is around us. So not only are we doing business, but we're focused on the floor. We're making sure that barbers are doing what they're supposed to. Then we look at the establishment. Is it clean? Like, there's so many things.
It's not just the haircut,
It's
you
not,
know? There's
you know?
so many parts that come together that are going to make your business successful and keep
Exactly.
your business thriving. So
Exactly.
you got to make sure to incorporate everything.
So I'm
Yeah.
trying to put as much into him as I can that life will permit me to be able to do. So if he can learn those fundamentals, then he can pick up the rest. Because you could pick up barbering in the first 2 years or so, but it's all if he doesn't want to cut hair and he wants to run the barbershop, or if he wants to go run his own business, it's going to be the same foundations. So it's just the idea of just showing him.
Is there any advertisement knowledge you can throw at Vic? Because you got
Yeah, I need it.
mad.
Oh, man. we need
she's-
another
yeah.
hour.
It's like
No, I
something,
mean,
you know?
like, okay, well, you're doing these mailers. You're using a CRM.
It's called EDD, Every Direct Door Delivery.
So that's to the U.S. Postal Service.
Correct.
Now, every time a customer comes in, you get their information?
Yes, so we're
You get
asking
the zip code.
exactly.
You find out where they're coming
Exactly.
from. Okay. I would always try to capture emails when they
Correct.
come into and phone numbers, because now what's really big is text messaging campaigns. So I actually just ran for mayor of Riverside.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and so that was actually the big thing, text
Uh-huh.
messaging. So, times are constantly changing, and it comes to advertising. You just got to keep evolving,
For sure.
which you've learned and you've done, and you've been really good at doing. But just capturing information is so important. And then also, if you're using social media, are you using social media
Yeah, I
marketing?
do. I run ads on Instagram, and then I run the ads on Facebook,
Facebook,
and
okay.
stuff like that.
Are you using a Pixel?
Pixel, no.
Okay, so not a lot of businesses are using Pixel, and the Pixel is basically a link that goes from your Facebook onto your website.
Okay.
And what it does is if somebody goes to your Facebook page or they click to your website, that ad will continue to follow them everywhere they go.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and not a lot of people utilize that, so it's kind of funny.
Pixel.
So the Pixel, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that for sure.
Shout out to Envy Media right here. See, she knows.
See,
Do a little knowledge out
see,
there.
and I'm the type that's gonna take that, and as soon
run
as
with
I get
it,
to the office,
yeah.
I'm for sure gonna put that to use. You know,
Let
because
me know. I have an advertising agency if you need
there
help.
it is. Yeah, because I do it all. Like I said, I do payroll, I do marketing, I set it all up. But through trial and error, I notice certain things get a lot of good feedback, and other things that don't. I do Google ads too.
Okay.
And then from being outside, like
Are you doing SEO?
SEO? No.
See,
you gotta
that's
get it
another
right.
thing.
Yeah.
A lot of barbers aren't doing SEO. So
Yeah.
oh man, I
Yeah.
got lots
You
of
could be
tips.
killing the game
No, for sure.
on that end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're running out of time right now. But I do want to ask you one last question. So, if we were to talk, like I do this with a lot of the
sure.
guests at the end. So take away everything. I mean, everything that you got that you've built, and if you were to remove all of that, who are you? If you were to break you down, and your heart had to tell us who you were, what would it say?
I'm a soldier. I'm a person that doesn't give up. I'm relentless. I'm also a person that gives when I don't got no more to give. I believe in people. I believe, I have this crazy idea that we can all win. I'm a people of the community. I'm always trying to, as much as I prayed for success, I prayed to be in a position to give others opportunity, even if they made it to higher levels than me. Because I always believe you help a helping hand, and then maybe my boys in their future, maybe somebody will help them. So
Yeah, I like that, man.
I love that.
We appreciate you coming on.
appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks
We
for
have to
having me,
shout
man.
out Rick, man.
Nah,
Thank
for
you.
sure,
Very
man.
Well,
Shout out to
for-
Rick.
And shout out to Diamond Studios.
Yes, sir.
Always doing their thing.
Thank you guys for having
Yeah,
me.
man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate
Just look at the camera.
Come
and
on, man.
Say,
Shed the sheet.
shed the
You already
sheet.
know. Woo!
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to thank everybody for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video, share it with everybody, and go ahead and shed the sheep. How's
the
over
sheep.
Baz? I'm Jacob Casas,
I'm Jessica Q.
and we are out.
Ow.